Hello and welcome back to the Kapeel Gupta Career PodShow. And today I want to begin with a scene that may feel uncomfortably familiar. A young student is sitting on a plastic chair in a small room. The fan is making more noise than breeze, and the phone has only 23% battery. The table is crowded with one notebook, one old water bottle, two dreams, and at least seven doubts. On Instagram, other people seem to be already winning. Someone has launched a startup, someone has cracked an exam, and someone is studying abroad. Someone is posting gym selfies with quotes like discipline is destiny, while our hero is still searching for the pen cap. And then the most dangerous thought enters the mind. Maybe I'm too late. Maybe I'm too small. And maybe I do not have enough. So, my dear listeners, that thought is a liar with very good marketing. Because one of the biggest lessons of life is this: you can start small without starting weak. So, starting small means your first step is humble. Starting weak means your mindset is defeated. Now, these two are not the same thing at all. A seed is small, a spark is small, a first salary is small, a first video gets 17 views or even less. A first notebook looks ordinary. A first attempt may even look funny. But small does not mean powerless. Small means manageable. Small means repeatable. Small means real. And most importantly, small means you have begun. Hi, I'm Kapeel Gupta, career coach, life mentor, and founder of Study Abroad Academy. I empower students, parents, and conscious professionals to design a fulfilling life and career by aligning their minds, values, and aspirations. And I do it with coaching, mindset work, and the game changing power of graphotherapy because students deserve more than just guidance, they deserve transformation. So let me tell you a story. Meet Arav. He's not extraordinary in the filmy sense. No dramatic background music, no helicopter parenting, no billionaire uncle, no secret Swiss bank accounts, sadly. He's a regular Indian student from a regular family with irregular confidence. He wants to build a strong career. Some days he dreams of cracking a competitive exam. And some days he wants to build something of his own. And some days he wants to work globally. And most days he just wants to stop feeling behind. So one evening, after comparing himself with half the internet and losing to all of it in his mind, he asks his father, "What if my beginning is too small?" His father smiles and says, "बेटा, लड्डू भी छोटा शुरू होता है. Nobody starts with the whole sweet in one bite." And that line made him laugh, but also made him think. Because the power of small beginnings is not motivational decoration, it is strategy. Look at India's own business stories. Infosys says it grew from a capital of 250 US dollars into a global economy with more than 330,000 employees and 19.8 billion US dollars in revenue. Reliance's official history says Dhirubhai Ambani returned to India in 1957 and began with a yarn trading business in Mumbai before building one of India's biggest corporate legacies. Now, these are not stories of people waiting for perfect conditions. These are stories of people beginning with what they had and then multiplying it with vision, effort, and time. And that is why I want every young listener to remember this line: small is not weak, small is the foundation. A weak start says, I'll try only if I'm guaranteed success. A strong, small start says, I'll begin, learn, improve, and grow. A weak start looks for applause on day one. A strong start looks for progress on day one. A weak start says, I don't have enough resources. A strong start says, I'll become resourceful. Arav slowly began understanding this difference. He stopped asking, how do I become successful immediately? And started asking, what can I do today that future Arav will thank me for? And that one question changed everything. And this brings me to the second big truth of today's episode. Strong habits matter more than dramatic starts. See, most young people do not fail because they lack talent. They fail because they are waiting for a giant wave of motivation to arrive wearing sunglasses and carrying a success certificate. But success rarely enters like a hero in slow motion. It enters like a boring routine, quietly, daily, repeatedly, and sometimes so quietly that people ignore it. And there's a beautiful Indian saying, "Boond boond se hi sagar banta hai." Drop by drop, the ocean is formed. And that is not only poetry, that is performance science. A recent peer reviewed systematic review on habit formation found that habits usually do not become automatic in 21 days. The review reported that the time to habit formation ranged around 59 to 66 days in some studies, with mean estimates of 106 to 154 days with wide individual variation. Its practical conclusion was simple. For many habits, real automaticity may take roughly 2 to 5 months, not the famous 21-day shortcut people love to forward in WhatsApp. So, when I tell students to read 10 pages a day, practice coding for 30 minutes daily, write one LinkedIn post a week, solve 5 maths questions every morning, or speak to one new person in their field every few days, I'm not giving small advice. I'm giving compounding advice. So 10 pages a day looks tiny until it becomes 300 pages a month. 30 minutes of coding looks harmless until it becomes over 180 hours in a year. One meaningful conversation a week looks ordinary until your network begins opening doors you did not even know existed. Tiny disciplined actions are like silent employees. They work for you even when nobody is clapping. So Arav tested this. He made a simple promise. No dramatic timetable, no 6 color planner, no fake productivity theater. Just 3 daily non negotiables. He would study for one focused hour without touching his phone. He would read 10 pages from a useful book and he would spend 20 minutes building one practical skill. Some days he felt powerful. Some days he felt like a potato with Wi Fi, but he still showed up. And slowly, something magical happened. Not glamorous magic, useful magic. He became less focused. He needed less motivation because routine began carrying him. He stopped negotiating with himself every day. The very habits that looked too small to matter became the muscles that made him strong. And now let us talk about something that troubles many young people deeply, the feeling that they do not have enough resources. No money, no connections, no English speaking environment, no coaching, no perfect city, no fancy laptop, no influential relatives, and no background. And here is where I want to be very honest. Yes, resources matter. Let us not be fake positive about that. Money can help, access can help, guidance can help, stable circumstances can help, but resources are not the full story. Because if resources were everything, then every rich person would be excellent, every connected person would be fulfilled, and every well equipped person would be unstoppable. And that is clearly not how life works. What matters just as much, and often more in the long run, is resilience. Resilience is your ability to continue when life does not clap for you immediately. It is your ability to adapt when your plan breaks. It is your ability to learn without becoming bitter, compare without becoming insecure, and fail without becoming final. Many aspirants think their problem is shortage of opportunity. Sometimes the bigger problem is shortage of inner stamina. And this is especially important because young people today are carrying a lot mentally. The World Health Organization says that globally, 1 in 7 adolescents aged 10 to 19 experiences a mental disorder, and suicide is the third leading cause of death among people aged 15 to 29. In India, the government said in February 2026 that Telemanas, the National Tele Mental Health Program, had already handled more than 32.84 lakh calls since launch. These numbers tell us something serious. Struggle is real, stress is real, and asking for help is not weakness. So when I say never start weak, I do not mean never feel tired. I do not mean never cry. I do not mean handle everything alone like a Bollywood hero running in slow motion on a mountain. I mean this. Do not let difficulty convince you that you are broken. Get support when needed, build emotional strength, rest when required, but do not surrender your identity. Arav faced this too. In his first attempt at a competitive goal, he failed. Not by a little, by enough to make relatives ask very creative questions. For 2 weeks, he felt numb, then embarrassed, then angry, then tempted to call himself a failure. But one evening, instead of making a grand comeback speech to the mirror, he simply opened his notebook and wrote, "I'm not finished. I'm only early." And that sentence became his turning point. He started again, smaller, wiser, stronger. And this is something I want every career aspirant to hear carefully. Resilience beats drama. The student who keeps showing up wins more often than the student who keeps announcing grand plans. The professional who adapts wins more often than the one who keeps complaining. The person who learns from rejection becomes more dangerous to mediocrity than the person who never gets rejected because they never try. Now, let us move to the fourth theme. And this one is very exciting for the Indian Gen Z, the opportunity of India in the global era. Many young people still think, I'm from a small town, so my impact will also be small. Now, that sentence is outdated. India's digital and startup ecosystem has changed the game. According to a government press note, India had 1,002.85 million internet subscribers as of April to June 2025. And in Jan 2026, the Prime Minister's office said India had become the world's third largest startup ecosystem with more than 2 lakh startups, and that nearly 44,000 new startups were registered in 2025 alone. Think about what that means. A student sitting in Indore, Ranchi, Guwahati, Kochi, Jaipur, or a small town near any of these places can now learn from global courses, build a portfolio online, freelance for international clients, connect on LinkedIn, publish on YouTube, sell through Instagram, write on Medium, code with open source communities, and create opportunity from a room that older generations may have called limited. The room may still be small, the reach is not. And this is where starting small becomes even more powerful. You can begin local and still create global value. A design student can start by making posters for a nearby business and later build an international portfolio. A coding student can start with simple websites and later work with clients abroad. A content creator can begin by making videos in Hindi or English and still build a worldwide audience. A career aspirant can start with one blog, one profile, one project, one skill, one internship, one certificate, and one pitch. Please understand this clearly. In today's world, a humble start is no longer a prison. It can be a launchpad. But there's one condition: you must use global tools without losing your values. Think beyond borders, yes, but stay rooted in character. Build ambition, but also build integrity. Earn money, but do not sell your peace for applause. Grow fast, but do not become hollow. Arav realized this too. Earlier, he thought success meant escaping his background, and later he understood that real success meant honoring his background while expanding beyond it. His language, his values, his simplicity, his discipline, his respect for people, his hunger to grow. These were not weaknesses, they were assets. And that brings us to the final and perhaps most important part of this episode. Success is bigger than career. Please listen to this with full heart. Career growth is important. Titles matter, incomes matter, skill matter, exposure matters, opportunity matters. But if you gain all of that and lose your peace, your health, your relationships, your values, and your sleep, then, my dear listener, you have not built success. You have built a well decorated problem. A strong start is not only about earning quickly, it's about aligning your career with your life purpose. It's about asking deeper questions. What kind of a person am I becoming while chasing this goal? Do I feel alive doing this work? Am I proud of how I am growing? Am I staying emotionally healthy? Do I have people I can trust? Am I building a life or only a resume? So, this matters because the pressure on you today is intense. Social comparison is constant. The race is noisy. The fear of missing out has become a full time intern in many minds. And that is why strong beginnings must include mental health, relationships, self respect, and meaning. Not as side topics, as core topics. The best careers are not built by people who only chase titles, they're built by people who build themselves. Arav eventually did grow. Not overnight, not magically, not in one viral moment. He grew because he stopped insulting small steps. He respected routine. He became resilient. He used the opportunities of modern India. And he refused to define success only by what others could see. He did not begin with everything. He began with enough. And maybe that is all many of us need. So let me leave you with this. If your room is small, let your mindset be large. If your resources are limited, let your discipline be unlimited. If your first step is tiny, let your spirit still be powerful. Do not wait to look big before you begin. Begin so that you can grow big. The world does not always reward the loudest starter, it often rewards the strongest continuer. Tonight, I want you to take one notebook page and write 3 lines. The first line: I do not need a big start, I need a strong one. The second line: my small habits are building my future. The third line: I'll keep going. And then choose one action so small that it feels almost silly. Read 2 pages, write one paragraph, solve 3 questions, practice one concept, send one message, record one video, walk for 10 minutes, apply to one opportunity. Start where you are. Start with what you have and start before you feel fully ready, because life changes Not only when you start, life changes when you stop calling your beginning weak just because it is small. So, this is Kapeel Gupta, and you're listening to the Kapeel Gupta Career PodShow. Start small, but never ever start weak.